Assalamu alaikum, family. You're tuned into the Sajdah Morning Coffee Talks, and I'm your host, Sajdah Wendy Muhammad, and we're going to do part two today of our conversation about divine intelligence, artificial intelligence, and how all it ties into our money psychology. So be a friend, tell a friend, and we'll be right back after a few short commercials and a beautiful prayer.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judgest, and none can judge against Thee, and he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides Thee, and I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
All right. Assalamu alaikum. Nobody wanted to hear our videos today, so we couldn't hit play on it. You know, it's so interesting because as soon as you start talking about the economy, artificial intelligence, supreme wisdom, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, then everything starts messing up. So we're going to just keep going. I think we had some technical difficulties yesterday because of that. That's all right. Happy Saturday to everyone. Y'all know every quarter I like to come back and help us to tweak our money psychology. And that's what we are doing and have been doing these last couple of days. Hopefully you tuned in yesterday where we started going a little bit deeper into just kind of understanding AI and giving ourselves a different perspective on AI, introducing the concept of divine intelligence, just what that means. And today, I just want to have a real practical conversation with us to help tweak and adjust our money psychology. You know, we also talked about manifesting in the face of controversy. And it's a term you all know that I introduced a long time ago, and we've been talking about it and how really, in essence, how do you keep your mind right? How do we keep our eyes on the prize, the face of attacks, challenges, and all the things that we have going on, as a people that try to spread truth out here. And so the first thing I want to share with us today is something that a lot of us struggle with. And I was writing down a few notes while I was waiting to go live. And before I make the statement, let me set it up like this. Just talking about money. A lot of us see ourselves differently depending on how much money we have. And as long as we are judging ourselves based on how much money we have, then we're still on that hamster wheel. We're still in a slave mindset. And we're actually never going to get out of it. We'll probably just die poor. But unless we feel good about ourselves, regardless of what we have, regardless of the amount of things that we want or the amount of stuff we want to do that we can't do, as long as we still feel good about who we are right now, there's always a chance that we can climb up out of it. See, some of us, the money psychology in our little tribe or our community is based on the class that we're put in because of how much money we either have or don't have. And so that creates a money psychology. My grandmother used to say, your money is your best friend in your pocket. You ain't got no friends if you ain't got no money. Well, that's a money psychology that is being passed down to a child when you say it to them. And so in essence, and I no shade on our parents or grandparents, because everybody comes here doing the best that they can. I don't believe in blaming. I believe in just going inside of yourself and figuring out when the statute of limitations runs out, it's time for you to get a new mindset. And if you've grown, it's time out for blaming your parents or your grandparents or whatever. It's time to start fixing and healing some of this stuff that's going on with us. So please don't take it like that. But when a parent, a grandparent, an auntie, or an influential figure says something to a child or behaves a certain way in front of a child, then that's not in a vacuum. Because if she's saying that, then that may also be the permeating psychology in the family that gets passed down, even if the people in the next generation never heard the statement. But because the people in the current generation are operating under that principle, it makes the other people that come behind them function like that. There are many families, I've experienced this in my own, where with the younger generation, if I was doing something for them, giving them something, being that survivor's guilty auntie, then I'm cool. I'm the favorite auntie. I'm the favorite this or that. But when no starts happening, when it's no, I'm investing in something. No, I can't help. Then that's followed by the abuse. Then when the abuse starts happening, see, what I do is I step back and disconnect myself. And I said, what you're not going to do is abuse me, because I love myself too much. And I loved you too much to let you hurt me, because I know that karma is going to come back on you. So I'm going to step away from you. And so sometimes when you're dealing with money psychology issues, you have to learn to do that, because a lot of times in our family, we don't understand the vicissitudes of money, especially for us as Black people, because we've not invested in business. We've not went forward and stepped outside of maybe having a job. We don't know what that's like. So we don't know what it's like for a project to hit a lull, for a business to have slow times. See, people who grow up in entrepreneurial families understand that. So if you have that Irish person, I went to school with this girl. She came from an Irish family, and they all had these stores, different. They were just into retail, like a hardware store, clothing store. And when one of them had like a low season, then the other person would do something to help the other one. And I remember her going through a lull with her clothing store, and her cousin stepped in. It was like, I got you. And I know my brother and I, we try to practice that with one another. How you doing? What you need? I got you. But not all families are like that, and not all family members are like that. And you cannot allow how you see yourself to be impacted by how people who have a lower understanding of finances and investment see you. You got to wake up and say, I'm still all that, regardless of where I am in the vicissitude of my business. See, because a shallow person will look at you and say, oh, he don't have any clients right now. You might be a doctor, you might be an attorney, you might, whatever. And I will tell you, one of the biggest things that impacts our money psychology as entrepreneurs are the attacks and the issues that we have with people on the outside who are trying to block us and fight us. So I know people who ended up in lawsuits as entrepreneurs, where they're fighting against a power that be that's maybe stopping them from vending or stopping a vendor relationship. And they have family members that look down on them. So be very mindful of judging yourself based upon how people that you love see you. Because just because you love them and you see them and you understand the vicissitudes of life does not mean that they understand that with you. But do not allow that, don't internalize that and allow that to break down your money psychology. Let me tell you how to think about this. When you learn that kind of stuff, when Allah gives you the glasses or the eyes where you get to see exactly how a person sees you. Maybe he shows you through something they said, maybe he shows you through something that you watched, but somehow that behavior was demonstrated and you saw it. You don't got to get mad. Just realize how blessed you are. Because it's better that you can see it than if you don't see it. And once you get that blessing from Allah and he says, hey, slow down, because this person don't quite see you for whatever reason, the way you see them. And he says, so, whoa, dial it back. That's a blessing. It's actually liberating. When I have conversations with people, lately for me, there's been some puzzles in my life that have been unraveled and detangled in the last 2 or 3 days. And I've had to just sit quietly and say, let me just go into meditation. Not meditation to just replay everything, because I'm not going back to any kind of weird energy, but meditation of gratitude. Like, wow, if this has been something that I've thought about or questioned or something that I've been doing for years, whether it's somebody's ass I've been kissing for years, whether it's somebody I've been trying to be friends with for years, something that I've been doing, or something that happened years ago that I didn't realize, or maybe I thought it was my fault, or put some other what do I want to say? Some other intelligence around to make it make sense. When you get the real answer, I'm so grateful. And it's a clear sign to me that I'm being prepped and shaped and cleaned up for that next level, that next elevated place. And so sometimes I go into gratitude and say, what do I have to do to prepare myself for this next elevated space? Because I am now learning so many things that are putting the puzzle pieces in place. Or maybe I learned something that I didn't even know was holding me back because I was using deceptive intelligence to make it make sense. And then you finally get the truth. It's such a blessing. But do not let that truth, even if you've been applying deceptive intelligence to make it make sense, don't let it impact how you see yourself or how you see yourself as it relates to money. You got to believe you the shit regardless of how much money you got. See, when you start getting off of that hamster wheel, you are now coming out of that slave mentality. When you now can look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm still beautiful, I'm still amazing, I'm still smart, I'm still valuable, regardless of what you think, or you think. Yeah, I might have some things I got to work on. I might have some things that I made a mistake. I might have some things that I need to face. But it don't stop me from being who I am. And you got to hold these truths about yourself and walk in this certainty, even if things aren't flowing the way you want them to. There are some people that I know that as long as I've known them, they've always had bad money psychology, lived in poverty consciousness, scarcity consciousness. That is a psychological problem. It's a thinking problem. We talked yesterday, it's because you've developed intelligence around something that has happened to you, something that you're afraid of. See, faith is a muscle, and it only works when you exercise it. And so learn how to play with your mind enough. I told you guys I do this all the time, where I will, let's say you take your home, for example. And in your home is filled with a lot of energy. Your home is filled with the energy of your things that you have in it. It's also filled with the energy that your experiences have brought to it. Okay? Listen to me real good. Whatever you're thinking, whatever you're experiencing, and you're in your home, that home contains the energy of those experiences. And especially now with the way we work from home, so we are manifesting within that scientific laboratory filled with the energy of our experiences. So you know what you got to do sometimes? You got to get out of that environment. You got to go have some other experiences so that you broaden your perspective. Go change the stimuli that you're putting in your brain. Change locations. Change what you see. Go outside. Experience the sun. Go to the ocean or the water. Experience that. Go talk to a friend and say, hey, let's go have lunch on the Riviera somewhere. I'm using examples, but do something different that pops you out of your routine so that now you have a different vibration when you come back into the home. And now you've changed the vibration from the existing stagnant vibration that you've been in because you can't help it. You're there. You live there every day to something new. And so now when you sit in that space, you sit in the home, you sit there and you say, oh, okay, I feel something different. Maybe invite somebody different from the home, or stop inviting somebody from your home just to change the environment. I make it a point, and anybody who knows me, if I come to your home, I try to bring the best energy that I can bring, so that when I'm in your environment, I can change the vibration of what's there and what's in the air. If we do something, or we go somewhere, or whatever we're doing, I try to say, okay, this is going to change the energy, inshallah, for this person, to help them be better. That's how deep this is for me. So not only am I going to speak words and try to speak life into you and try to do more that I can help you, every phone call, every connection, every conversation, I'm going to do everything I can to help elevate your vibration to the point that you become more happier, healthier, wealthier, and you experience more love. That's how deep and serious I am about this. If you spend time with me, I'm going to do everything I can to help elevate you, because I believe part of my job and what I showed up on the planet to do in the circumstances around my birth is because I came here to heal and hook y'all up and help people. And I don't get these downloads and this information for nothing. It's so that I can share. If you come to Sajdah house, Sister Aletha's in the chat, she'll tell you, I've been prayed 2-3 days before, so that people who come for whatever have a change in their molecular structure, because I prayed on it so hard. And, in that process, that also means that I have to work on myself. Because as an empath, sometimes I get bogged down with other people's stuff. And so I have to say, all right, we got to recalibrate. We got to go let go of folks' stuff. Because a lot of times you will have people who are injecting their stuff on you, and you never said anything bad to them. You never did anything. So instead of being on the defense, I try to make sure that I find ways to generate a high vibration, so that I'm emitting a high vibration and I'm giving out a high vibration. And that inoculates me, in a sense, from whatever is going on from somebody else that I would experience if I just allow myself to be on the defense. And what does that mean? I'm sitting back to wait to see how you make me feel. I'm going to feel how I feel and think how I think and be who I am. And that ain't got nothing to do with you. That's a money psychology technique. And this money psychology stuff is something you have to work on over and over again. You know why? Because somebody's always working to try to get you to do what they want you to do when it comes to money. Some of us have bad money psychology because we're burdened by sin. And it doesn't have to be, whether I think it's a big sin or a little sin is not relevant. It's what you think. If there was something that you did that you are really still beating yourself up with, that can also affect your money psychology. If it's something that you've gone through that is traumatic, a divorce, an eviction, theft. Theft is one of those things that hurts. And so theft is where, if I had a client this week who had gone through a big theft, where somebody that they trusted just completely ripped them off, and we had to really work and unravel so that she is not seeing herself based on what this person did to her. So these are all things that impact us, and we have to be very open. And I think the way to deal with it is to try to be the generator of that good energy. I want to be the generator of that energy, so that when you're working with me, when you are spending time with me, when we're friends, whatever, you can say, okay, I'm going through something financially. Let me call Sister Sajdah. Because if she can't necessarily write a check and help me, she's going to help me think about it in a way that I'm going to get myself up out of this rut. That's my gift that I feel like I bring. And that's a tool that I use because I am an empath and so many things can easily affect me. But this is how you can start playing with your brain based on how your personality is when it comes to money. And this stuff isn't cookie cutter. So don't hesitate to book a coaching session so that I can give you some tools. You can figure out how to work with yourself. I'm one of those persons, I can be lenient with people, but I have what they call a backbone of steel. It's going to take a lot to break me. But in that process of not breaking, I have to make sure that whatever you're doing to break me, in your attempt to break me, does not impact how I see myself. And it doesn't alter how I interact with the world. This is real psychological stuff that they don't teach us. Sometimes there's lots of conversations around about trust. And because nowadays people are so unpredictable that it's difficult to trust. You just never know what agenda somebody's on. You never know what they want, what they're trying to do. But this is how I deal with that. I trust myself. And so I really don't have to worry about whether I trust you. And even if I know that I can only trust you as far as I can throw you, that doesn't mean that I can't figure out why Allah brought you here in my face. Could be for me to learn. Could be because there's that one little thing that you can offer me or that you can do or something about our relationship that is going to take me to that next level. And maybe it doesn't mean that you're a long-term person in my life. Some people are very manipulative. They're sorcerers and witches, and they do things, and everything they do is for the purpose of manipulation. And that can impact your money psychology. Because you get with this person, and I don't care if they invite you out to dinner for coffee. There's another hidden agenda. But if you trust yourself, you don't have to worry about that. You can go if you feel like it, or you can say, no, I don't want to go. We go as far as our mind will allow us to. So keep your ability to perceive open. Feel free to put some chats about money psychology and put some questions in the chat about what we talked about yesterday when it comes to money psychology and what's going through your mind now. Because we all have different personalities. We have different ways that Allah showed up to express himself. This is an expression of Allah. You're an expression. We all are different expressions, different ways, and that he communicates and what he showed up on the planet to do, he shows up as us. Maybe he shows up as a blade of grass. But that energy shows up in some kind of way. And in the highest, most sophisticated form is us. So I want you to start thinking about, and this is really key. I've been doing this for years. I am very much into studying myself. And it's something I heard the minister say years ago. I study myself so that I can understand how Allah deals with me. This even happens if you get spiritual information. This is why people who call themselves psychics and seers oftentimes make a mistake. Because when you get energy, once it comes through your egoic filter, then it changes. And it's hard because most of us aren't advanced enough where we can drop down our egoic filter and just get the raw information. Because what the ego does is it causes us to start interpreting, and then we're like, my spirit told me and I knew. But the more you remove your ego, the more psychic and intuitive you can be. This is real talk. So I'll give you a simple example. Let's say you feel something. Most of us start scanning our experiences to figure out what it means. I knew it. As soon as I walked past that street, I felt something in my stomach. But that's all you stop right there. You didn't know what it was. You didn't know if the energy meant go down the street. You didn't know if the energy meant call somebody that you know down that street. You got the energy and you just said, something in my gut said. That's because you put your ego in it. But the more you remove your ego from the emotions that you're receiving, the more you can use your emotions as a tool as it relates to money, relationships, and any decisions that you're making. Emotions is just a compass. It's just directional. But because we put our ego into it immediately, we lose whatever it is. We get the initial feeling, ooh, I felt my heart flutter. But because we then automatically say, yeah, as soon as they walked up to me, my heart fluttered. Maybe that's not it. So sometimes the better question is, help me to see what that fluttering was about. And don't speak on it right away. Don't walk around. Don't start no hotline. Don't start talking to people about the energy and what you feel. And if you do, share something. Anybody who knows me, if I pick up on something and I share it, I try to give it back to you in a very generic type of way, to the extent that I can. And that way, I'm not filtering it through my ego. See, because oftentimes the most spiritual people and the most intuitive people are the scariest people. And it's because they're always feeling something and they automatically create a rule every time they feel something. They even try to own when something good happens to them. Instead of saying, thank you, and leaving it at that. Thank you. Thank you. It becomes, this happened because they mess with me or whatever. But a lot of times we got to be careful. The more intuitive and the more spiritual we are, oftentimes the more scarier we are. And the more we limit ourselves when it comes to our money psychology. Just because you went through a divorce, just because you went through a bankruptcy, just because somebody stole money from you, that does not necessarily mean that you need to start looking at yourselves through the lens of that trauma. Use it as a tool to learn. Everything that happens to you, you should make it your mission to say, how do I take that action and help it make me closer to God? How do I take that action and help myself to improve? That's why even as a child, I've always thought that. That's why it only took me to get one whooping about something. I wasn't one of them children that needed to get a whooping over and over about something. Oh, okay. That got me a whooping. So how do I become a better person? No, with everything that has happened, and I've had a lot of manner of things happen to me. And I say, all right, how do I interpret this and see this so that my interpretation and my view of this serves the God in me? I'm going to say it again. No matter what trauma you experience today, tomorrow, or you've experienced in the past, bankruptcy, divorce, people lying on you, manipulating you, maybe you did something bad to somebody, whatever that trauma is, instead of getting scared and creating a rule, oh yeah, I don't go down that street, or I won't go there, or you spend time spinning wheels in this matrix of negativity of why you don't and how come you can't. That is a very addictive thought pattern. And so instead of doing that, say, how can I use what I'm feeling to serve the God in me? How can I use what I experienced to elevate? Okay, somebody stole something from me. How do I use that experience to serve the God in me? And you got to put the question out there. If you say, right now, I have no money, I don't know how I'm going to do X, Y, Z. I don't know how I'm going to get to work on Monday, or how I'm going to put gas in my car. How do I use this to serve the God in me? See, because the God in me already plans for me to be successful. The God in me is with me everywhere I go, everything I do, and always wants me to be successful. The God in me loves me more than you do, more than I love myself. So even if you don't like me, even if you mad at me because I said no to something, the God in me says, I love you. So the question becomes that guiding force. How do I make sure I support that God within? And we got a whole series of study guides in the Nation of Islam that teach us how to build, protect, and uplift that God within. How do I do that? How do I support that God within? Because that God within has already made sure and set me up for whatever it is I want. And if I keep working to support the God within me, then whatever happens will always be to my advantage. You know why? Because I'm going to make it be that. See? It's me and the God within. Ain't nobody, I heard the minister say one time, ain't nobody there but you, God, and the devil. Think about that. So if I'm constantly serving that God within, then how can anything go wrong? Because if I'm always looking and my mind is always focusing on how do I be more of service to the divine intelligence that is in me, which is the God that is within me, what happens? What I focus on expands. I focus on expand. All money psychology. Here's the other thing. And I think this is something that comes from slavery. We're always trying to dictate where goodness comes from, where love comes from, where money comes from. So if we say, man, I'm gonna be rich one day, I'm gonna get $10 million, we start devising in our mind where it's gonna come from. And if we and our belief in it goes as far as what we can imagine it comes from. We know we ain't got no rich uncle that's gonna write us a $10 million check. We know we're not gonna walk out in the street and find $10 million. So when we start that process of elimination, it messes with our belief. But if you just focus on the fact that you know that you already got it, this is the mind hack. You already got everything you need. And so as you're moving, you're serving that God within, you're creating the energy within yourself as if you already have what you want, then guess what? The circumstances will line up and you will get whatever it is that you want. You know why? Because the mere fact that you had the desire, the mere fact that you said, you know, I really want to go to Florida and lay on the beach. The mere fact that you had that desire probably came from something that Allah put inside of you. See, you and I don't know what's happening on a metaphysical level behind the scenes because most of us are not sensitive enough. So if Allah put it in your brain, you need to go to Florida and lay on the beach. Maybe there's some energy there He wants you to access. Maybe it's a change of environment and the way the stars, the sun, and the moon is going to line up while you down there is going to recalibrate you and change you. So when you come back, everything you're looking for pops into place. That just didn't pop in your mind. And when you start moving like this and thinking like this, then Allah can move you around to put you in the right places. He might need you to see something. He might need you to see something that happens to somebody else that's about to happen to you so that you stop doing what it is that you're doing. He might need you to see something good that is happening, something beautiful, because what He's got for you is right there and you can't see it because you're using this process of elimination when it comes to it. This is why as women, oftentimes we think it's a scarcity of men. Well, ain't no black men and ain't no, because we're always process of elimination. Well, I ain't going to meet them at the gas station. I ain't going to meet them at work. Ain't nobody at school cute. I don't like nobody at church. No, I don't want nobody at the mosque. We start process of elimination. And then we start saying, yeah, it's a scarcity. That's a wrong way of thinking. That is scarcity mindset. That is a very limited mindset. That is not an abundant mindset. The abundant mindset is, I'm going to support the God within me. I'm going to take care of myself because I'm so beautiful. I'm so amazing. I'm so smart. I already know that Allah has the power to bring to me whatever it is that I need when I need it. And I'm not going to sit here and go through this process of elimination. Well, can't do that. Can't do this. Don't want to do that. Because the more you do that, the more you start decreasing your belief system, the more you start weakening your faith muscle. You heard me, faith muscle. How many of y'all lift weights? You know, if you lift weights, you got to keep lifting in order to tighten up some of that flab. You know that the more you keep lifting, the stronger that muscle is going to get. The more you keep using it. And if you do it properly and you add the right proteins and eat right and do the right stretching, that muscle is going to get stronger. It's going to get better. You know that if you don't move, you're going to start getting fat. You're going to start seeing, oh, look at my midsection. Look at my legs. Look at my butt. You're going to start saying that. But if you start moving and exercising that muscle, what happens? It starts to look better. It starts to shed some of the fat around it. It starts to get more blood flow through the area because the muscles, for example, in our calves and our biceps are designed to pump blood. So sometimes we wonder why we got poor circulation in our legs or poor circulation going to the upper organs, because the big muscles in our body are not pulsating and they're not being used. There's vessels in there that have to be contracted to pump that lymphatic fluid in. That's why sometimes you see we get puffy. And you got to do your lymphatic drainage methods, because nothing is moving and squeezing that fluid and keeping the circulation flowing, keeping it going. Guess what? It's the same thing with our faith. When we don't exercise our faith, it gets weaker. When we don't focus on our faith, what happens? It gets flabby. It gets bloated. It can get so bloated that with the untruth and negatives and lies and all of that you don't even see it. You know how sometimes you can get so fat that you can't even see that you had any muscles. Same thing happens with our faith. Faith is a muscle. And that's why I believe that the concept of doing for self given to us by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is such a powerful concept when it comes to building faith. Doing for self, whether you have a job, whether you have a business, but understanding the idea of doing something that is beyond your intellectual capacity. Beyond your intellectual capacity. Now you're out over your skis. You're like, Allah, I'm out here now. So if you ain't got me, I just ain't got. Excuse my language, but that's what happens to our faith. That faith is a whole muscle. So if you are stuck in your routine, you're stuck in this environment in your home that's just filled with all the thoughts and the vibration of all your past experiences, all your trauma. You know how when you move into a new place or you go into a hotel, it feels like there's new energy there. And then once you've been there for a while, you feel the stagnation of the energy. Feel like I got to open the windows. I got to do something. I got to clean up. I don't know. So we stay in that routine. We stay in those environments. We keep thinking negatively. We keep just doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result. And because we keep doing the same thing over and over again, and we're not getting a different result, we're not exercising our faith, because our faith is getting smaller, because now we don't really quite believe in what it is that we're doing. And so we start this cherry picking and subtracting and all of that. You got to stop putting yourself in a box. Get out the cage. See, I don't put my Islam in a box. Islam simply means submission to the will of Allah. I am serving Allah, or the God within me, all the time. Because if I start there, if I serve the God within me by applying the supreme wisdom and the divine intelligence that I've been given, that I've learned, that I've studied over the years, then that God within is going to align me with what I need to be aligned with on the outside. Is going to allow me that method of submission. So I don't put it in a box. Because if I put it in a box, I'm only going to get what can fit in the box. Y'all didn't hear me. Understand that part of getting outside of the box is evolving. This is the deep part. I'm going to say this. We just got a few minutes left. So we go through something. Let's say we go to church. We're in the fraternity. We're in the sorority. We're in the mosque. And that first 10, 15 years that we're there, we're pledging, we're learning, we're new, we're excited, we're going through these certain types of experiences. And then we age out of the neophyte process. We're no longer a neophyte. We're no longer new. And now we got responsibilities. Now we got to start making this thing make sense. Why did I go through all this? So here's the trick. Serving the God within and doing something for ourselves is going to help us to apply what we learned in the neophyte stage and keep graduating to those elevated places. But what do? We're constantly trying to relive the way we looked in our neophyte stage, the popularity we had in the neophyte stage, how people treated us in the neophyte stage, what the times and the days in which we lived in those neophyte stage. We're constantly trying to go back to that because that was the good old days. And that's what keeps us trapped. You got to take that body of knowledge, those experiences, everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of that. And now take that with you to the next elevated place and the next elevated place and the next elevated place. You should be so many elevated places away from where you were 10, 20, 30 years ago that if somebody come up to you and tell you about a beef that they had with you in year 2, you don't even remember them, and you damn sure don't even remember what happened. You should. That's why they call it elevated places, not the elevated place, because you have to constantly be growing and developing. So let go of trying to be what you were. And be who you are. Accept your own and be yourself right now. And figure out how to serve the God within so that you become more and more and more aligned with Allah, with the Creator, whatever language you want to use. And then in that process, you become a Muslim, because a Muslim is one who aligns him or herself with the will of Allah, submits him or herself to the will of Allah. Some of us get emotional over that word submit, so I omitted it at first. But the submission is just the alignment. Because when we got a healthy view of who and what Allah is, whether we call it source, universe, whatever we want to call it, when we got a healthy view, and now we're submitting to that healthy view. And what is our connection? Our connection is the God within. So when the God within you is having a conversation with you saying, don't do that. Listen. The God within you is also communicating with you through your emotions or through your interpretation of the communications that are coming to you from the God within. See, because sometimes it's our ego that makes us scared of everything, makes us mad because we ain't got no money. That's the wrong way to be connected. And here's why this is important. Because these people have created these algorithms, this artificial intelligence, all this stuff that's designed to make you feel inferior and to disconnect you from your God within, to disconnect you and make you think that they are God, to make you a polytheist, make you worship something besides Allah. That's what all this stuff is for, so that they can be the God in your life, tell you what to do, where to go, what money to spend. And so it's imperative right now that we start to magnify the divine intelligence inside of us so that we can see clearer. We can think more clearly. We can respond to stimuli in a way that is more productive for who and what we are. So that when divine intelligence is being downloaded into us, we can get it. We can hear it. It does not have to travel through the fat of our faith. Did you know that there are some surgeons who, if you have a lot of fat on you and they got to operate on your stomach or whatever, they will not operate on you? Because most surgeons will say, I'm not dissecting through all of that fat. I remember Dr. Dormo used to say, yeah, they hear because they got their third opinion. The other surgeon feels like they too heavy and they don't want to dissect through the fat. Or if they have to dissect through all the fat, you end up with a complication. Why? Because they have to keep you under anesthesia longer, because it's going to take them longer to get to the organ that they're operating on, because they got to dissect through so much fat. So I want you to think about your faith. If you got so much fat on it, so much sin, so much deceptive intelligence, so much that because you're not exercising your faith, then when a message comes in, whether you believe it's coming from the wheel and whoever's on the wheel, or whether you believe it's coming from the sun, the moon, the stars, the universe, the birds, wherever you believe it's coming from, it can't get through all that fat around your faith. So I can break it down as to this is why we eat a certain way. This is why our lessons teach us never to be caught weighing other than ourselves. You got to keep that faith lean and strong. That faith got to be looking good. That faith got to be in shape. It got to be lean and mean. And how do we do that? By exercising our faith and using and understanding how to create environments, utilize external stimuli that increases our faith, increases our perception. Sometimes you might just need to go downtown and look at some beautiful things. You just might need to go test drive that $250,000 car, because you need your mind continuing to expand. See, once a mind expands, it can never contract. I'm going to leave y'all with that because it's 7:00. All right, family. We'll see you tomorrow morning for Sajdah's Monday morning meditation and motivation. We're going to meditate. It hasn't come to me yet on what subject we're going to meditate on. Oh, let me holler at y'all in the chat before I get out of here. Let me see. Let me get it. I ain't been paying attention, so I haven't even scrolled in or opened this up. Okay, let's see what we got here. Who we got in here? Brother Lamont says, Walaikum salam. Good morning. Yes, Brother Lamont. Thank you so much for always tuning in. Sister Aletha with Club Blue is here. She gives the greetings. And I say Walaikum salam. Saturday blessings. I see her and Brother Lamont hollering at each other saying, hey. Sister Betty says, yes, indeed. I don't know which Sister Betty that is, but greetings, Sister Betty. Let's see. Sister Monica, I see you, sis. She says, Assalamu alaikum and great Saturday, Sajdah channel family. Thank you, and thank you. Let's see. Who is this? The Light Bearer 459 says, ASA sister. I love that name. The Light Bearer. That's like being the torchlight, being a light worker, somebody who's working light and shining light on darkness. I love that. Brother Jamil's in the house. Mr. One Man Play is in the house. Assalamu alaikum. Brother Jamil, I posted it on our site. Brother Jamil has a one-man play that is coming up. And if you know Brother Jamil, even if you don't know Brother Jamil has a lot of beautiful and amazing life experiences. And Brother Jamil, I pray that as you share those experiences and your walk through an experience with divine intelligence and these beautiful experiences that you have, that it elevates you and liberates you and frees you from anything that has been holding you back, anything that has been burdening you. See, sometimes we get burdened and sometimes we don't get to go where we want to go. I'm not saying this is Brother Jamil's case, but this is what Allah is telling me to say as it relates to my brother. Because he's blessed us with so much and it's not for us. We got to share it. We got to get it out here. And I think the one man play is a great way to do it. It's a great way to do it. Who else we got here? Brother Lamont said, that's powerful, sister. John X. Jackson says, this is beautiful. Thank you. You're welcome. Light Bearer gave some emojis. Thank you all. Thank you all who are in the chat and those who are not in the chat. We'll see you all, inshallah, tomorrow morning. I see Lynn Muhammad 77045 says, Assalamu alaikum, my beloved sis star. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. A star. Thank you, sis. Thank you for that. Thank you for allowing me to be your sis star. So yeah, we're going to have motivation Monday tomorrow. We've got some things coming up. We got a virtual event that we're going to be doing with Sajdah House coming up. So stay tuned. We're going to be replaying one of our recent past events. And we've been so blessed because every event that we've had has been nothing short of magical. And so we just want to share it. And so we're going to be showing that coming up. And so I want to, some of you all are going to get an email from me so that you can help us to drive people virtual. It's all virtual. It's nothing at the house. It's all virtual, so that people around the world can enjoy it. But I'll tell you more about that. I'm still working through the kinks and working everything out. So you'll hear about it soon. Okay. Family, remember, it's not personal. It's vibrational. Start working with that God within and figure out ways in which you can support that God within. You protect it from your murderous tongue. You protect yourself from destroying the God within with the lies you tell, with the untruths that you live, with the conversations that you're having with yourself. Flip that around and say, I'm going to be honest with the God within. I'm going to love the God within. I'm going to support the God within. I'm going to do everything I can to strengthen the God within me. All right. So make sure you like and subscribe and support the network. And we will see you, inshallah, tomorrow. Now let's see if our commercials play this time. Assalamu alaikum.